You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks, Donald Trump is in Davos, where all the rich people are, for the annual event there. And he gave an interview on CNBC, and he was talking about Social Security, Medicaid, but then he got into how just wonderful things are in America, especially for black people.
I dare. One last question.
Go ahead.
Entitlements ever be on your plate?
At some point they will be. We have tremendous growth. We're going to have tremendous growth. This next year, it'll be toward the end of the year. The growth is going to be incredible. And at the right time, we will take a look at that. You know, that's actually the easiest of all things, if you look, because it's such a big percentage.
You're willing to do some of the things that you said you wouldn't do in the past, though, in terms of Medicare?
Well, we're going to look. We also have assets that we never had. I mean, we never had growth like this. We never had a consumer that was taking in through different means over $10,000 a family. We never had the kind of things that we have. Look, our country is the hottest in the world. We have the hottest economy in the world. We have the best unemployment numbers we've ever had. African American, Asian American, Hispanics are doing so incredibly, best they've ever done. Black, best they've ever done. African American, the numbers are incredible. The poverty numbers, the unemployment and the employment. There is a difference actually, but the unemployment and employment numbers for African Americans are the best we've ever had. You know, we just came up with a chart, and it was a very important number to me. African-American youth has the highest by far unemployment, the best unemployment numbers that they've ever had, and the best employment numbers. Right now we have almost 160 million people working in the United States, and we've never even been close to that, Joe.
All right, there's a reason I use the hashtag Trump Lies Matter, because you saw lots of lies there. You heard what he had to say about Social Security, but you know there's always a tweet or a series of tweets whenever he talks. Pull up the first one, please. This was what he said. I'm going to save Medicare and Medicaid. Carson wants to abolish and failing candidate Governor John Kasich doesn't have a clue. Weak. Really? You're going to save it? Like you said, you save HBCUs, huh? I was the first and only potential GOP candidate to state there will be no cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Huckabee copied me. Still lying. The Republicans who want to cut Social Security and Medicaid are wrong. A robust economy will make America great again. Another lie. That's what happens. But really what was bugging the hell out of me was how he was talking about how great things are for black people. Joining me now is Howard University economist, Dr. Bill Spriggs. Doc, glad to have you here. I want to show you this here. This is from this report dealing with 5 facts reveal the current crisis in black home ownership. Go to my iPad, please, Henry. Number 1, the current 30% percentage point gap between black and white home ownership is larger than it was in 1968 when housing discrimination was legal. If black home ownership rates were the same today as it was in 2000, America would have 770,000 additional black homeowners. Home ownership is lower for black college graduates than for white high school dropouts. Number 4, black borrowers are less likely to meet the traditional credit standards necessary to qualify for a mortgage. Number 5, 17% of the black-white home ownership gap can't be explained by identifiable factors. But I thought stuff was just so great for black people.
Well, they aren't. The labor market, so let's be clear about the labor market again, because he's made this claim repeatedly. If I just did a straight line for the 8 years before he became president and said, what is black unemployment going to be? It's going to be about the same as it is right now. It would be a little lower. So this is the rooster claiming I made the sun come up. It was going to happen without him. His claim is I didn't mess it up. That's his claim. Now, in terms of the share of black people who have a job, we haven't gotten that back. We have got the share of people who had a job back to 2008, but the record was in 2001. So we're not there. And his claim about black teenage unemployment is kind of misleading because black teenage labor force participation is very low anyway. It's the way that we compensate as a people because we don't have the income, we don't have the resources to help our kids, and so they withdraw in order to make up so they can study. See, the key to the whole black student debt crisis is because poor black people go to college. White poor people don't.
My God.
So
They don't have to.
well, they don't have to because you saw the stat. If you're a white high school dropout, you're more likely to own a home than a black college graduate. If you are a white high school dropout, your unemployment rate, that if you looked at it, right, it's like 5.1, something like that. That's the black unemployment rate. That's
Wow.
the black unemployment rate. So if you're a white high school dropout, your chances of getting a job, that's what it is for a black person, period.
Wow.
So yes, they don't have to. We do. We got the memo. It's not like black people didn't get the memo. We got the memo. That's why we went into debt, because poor black kids go to school. 65% of black kids enter college. The maximum expected contribution from their parents is zero. Zero. Their parents don't have enough. You gave the examples that you went through. Their parents don't have enough for us to expect them to come up with anything because there's no there there.
I mean, right. I as I think back, my parents may have sent some money, but I'm talking about some. I ain't talking about 1,000.
How about that?
I ain't talking about 500. Maybe $50. Maybe. That's just reality.
That's reality.
And you worked while you were in school.
Oh, hell yeah, I worked.
We all did.
Absolutely worked. Absolutely worked.
But see, here's
all 4 years.
Yes.
But here's the difference. We changed policy in 2000. This generation, the reason why it's $1 trillion and everybody's talking about it is because if you look back in history, this is unique. This 10-year period, 20-year period, it stands out. It's not any other period in American history. Why? Because our previous deal before 2000 was America invested in public higher education, so it was affordable.
Right.
So you didn't go into debt. When I was in college in the 70s, if you took a minimum wage job, any job, if you worked at McDonald's
Come on, brother.
in the summer, that was tuition for the University of California, Berkeley. If you took a McDonald's job for the summer, that was tuition at the University of California, Berkeley.
I worked at Crystal's
overnight
and paid for Tennessee State because my parents, like you said, 3 in college at the same time. So, Bill, so how do we fix it, brother? Is it a policy issue?
It is a policy issue, but that's why people are talking about forgiveness. Because if I were to correct it, right? If I said, you know what? Every American up till 2000 got the deal. This generation got cheated. I want to go back to the original deal. I want to go back to if you just go and work for 3 months at McDonald's, that's your tuition.
Right.
If I go back to that, then I'm going to have a bunch of people say, wait, time out. That wasn't my deal. My deal was you borrow $60,000.
Right. And then we're talking about the cuts. It wasn't just federal cuts. You also saw state cuts.
And state cuts. It's the state cuts that were
state
huge.
cuts in public education. Then you had, because of state cuts, dramatic increase in tuition. And so as a result, haves and have-nots. And so the thing for me, again, I want, because Reverend Barber sent me this, because again, when Trump is touting just how wonderful things are for black people, this is what he tweeted the other day. He said, Mr. President, this is not, Trump was tweeting about, Trump had sent out a tweet where he said, let me go ahead and plug it in so y'all can see this. Henry, let me know if you got, you should be able to see, do you see it now? Let me know. Trump tweeted about on MLK Day, it was exactly 3 years ago today, January 20th, 2017. Do y'all see it? That I was sworn into office, so appropriate that today is also MLK Jr. Day. African American unemployment is the lowest in the history of our country, by far also best poverty, youth, and employment numbers ever great. Reverend Barber says, Mr. President, this is not true, and the prophetic tradition of MLK contradicts your lie. median income for black households is $2,000 lower in your administration than in Obama's, when black unemployment fell 9 points. You sound like the slave master who boasted that his slaves were happy.
Wow.
Well, that's about it. Remember, though, when he took office with the lowest black unemployment rate that any president inherited. So all the other presidents, and people used to pick on President Obama what the black unemployment rate was. They forgot he inherited a high black unemployment rate that was rising. This man inherited the lowest unemployment rate black people ever had for a new president.
Oh, slavery.
And
100%
oh yeah, this is why.
Right,
exactly. This is why I always get on people about a job guarantee.
100%. No question.
You know, we had a job
You had a
guarantee.
job, right.
We decided that didn't sound so sweet.
No question.
So he already the score is 99-0. I hand over the ball to you with 30 seconds left, and you're on the 2-yard line.
Come on.
And then you want to act like, oh, I did something.
Right.
And if you look at that one at its highest point, I think unemployment rate was what, because of the housing crisis, everything, we were losing 500,000 jobs a month. It was what, 16, 18% for African Americans. He leaves, it's slashed in half, 8 or 8.5, something like that. It's only been lowered 2.2 points or so since Trump came in. So not like he slashed it, but also what he won't talk about, the black male unemployment rate has gone up in the last several months.
Well, last month it went up.
Wow.
And he had us all frightened because there was a period earlier in the year when the black female and male unemployment rate were going up. That had to do with the Fed getting it wrong on the interest rates. Fortunately, they changed course. But he's not had a smooth decline. It's not been every month, we're doing better.
And so the reason I wanted to break this down, and not just because the deal is, and I saw Robert Smith on Squawk Box, and he put this on his Instagram page where he was asked that question, and he said, first of all, guys, he said you can't just look at the unemployment rate. He said because the question is, are you making money to be able to build wealth? Yeah. Are you making money just to be able to survive? And he said you got to deal with that. And then he brought up also the whole issue in terms of home ownership. And so when you start talking about, so when all these people like Candace Owens and these crazy ass people who Christian Lamar and the rest of these fools, all how great things are for African Americans. And I love how they talk about that fool Charlie Kirk. He'll tweet, "Oh, the black business startups up 400%." Yes, there are 2.6 million black-owned businesses in America. 2.5 million have one employee. When there were 1.9 million black-owned businesses under Obama, 1.8 million had one employee. Oh, but when there were 1.9 million black-owned businesses, they had an average annual revenue of $110,000. Today, we have 700,000 more black-owned businesses. Average revenue is $54,000. So you can't get excited saying, oh, 700,000 new black-owned businesses doing half the revenue of the previous number, and you're still stuck with largely one employee.
It's called the hustle. And
Make it plain.
And so that gets counted as employed. So when I do my hustle, so I'm a business, and as you just said, I'm the only employee. If there are no jobs for me as a tailor, and I decide my hustle is going to be, I'm going to open up a tailor shop, there are no jobs for you as a tailor. Right?
Oh, wow.
But I'm going to start a tailor shop.
Right.
Like, wait, time out.
Right.
Like, this can't be in demand.
Right.
So this is the crisis. But as you point out, and you asked me about his getting cornered on Medicare and on Social Security, he had promised everybody, and you talked about $1 trillion debt and people forgiving the $1 trillion debt. He increased the deficit with his tax cut by over $1.5 trillion.
Yes, sir.
Giving it to the richest corporations, the richest people on the planet, and we were told as American workers, oh, look, the reason y'all can't get a wage increase is because your bosses who have record profits still can't afford to pay you because they're paying so much in taxes.
Right.
So we're going to give them a permanent tax cut, and with that tax cut, y'all going to get a wage increase.
And before it even passed, 2/3 of the CEOs said, No, we not. We doing shareholder buyback.
And that's exactly what they did. And real wages last year, flat.
Yep.
Flat. No one got any more anywhere. Real wages stayed flat.
There you go.
So we didn't see it. Now, because of that deficit, he has a reckoning. He has to figure out what is he going to do about the deficit, which he promised us was going to shrink. So he's going after the old Republican target.
Right.
Because their target has always been Medicare and Social Security.
Right.
Now, those should never have been targets. If you hadn't spent $1.5 trillion giving it to the richest people on the planet, we wouldn't have this discussion.
But that's also the setup that also when you see a Senator Amy Klobuchar fall for the trap in the last debate where she talked about, oh, we got to do something about, Social Security and Medicaid and the debt. Right. Republicans are like, we don't really give a damn what y'all think. So they talked all this stuff, debt. When Obama was there, Trump comes in, jack up the debt. Oh, I don't hear jack from Congressman Mark Meadows and Jim Jordan and the Freedom Caucus about debt. Nothing. Because their whole deal is they're thinking, you know what? It's a good bet Trump's going to lose. Y'all Democrats, y'all got to deal with the debt. And all of a sudden, it's going to become a big issue. This is why, again, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again today. Democrats win in November. Whoever is the president and the Democrats take back the Senate, they should give the finger to every Republican who opens their mouth.
Absolutely.
If they say anything about the debt,
That's right.
about judges,
That's right.
or anything else. Like, y'all done said damn thing for 4 years. You get the hand, go to hell. I don't want to hear nothing. I wouldn't let them talk in a hearing or nothing because they said nothing. And what Trump is doing, and the problem is there are some clueless, ignorant black people out there. The people walking around with these red MAGA hats falling for it. I got these fools in my Twitter timeline about, how great and wonderful their life is. The reality is this here. If you have a business where you do have multiple employees, and I can say that, I was like, oh my God, tax cut was great for us. But the bottom line is this here, is it helping a wide variety of people?
Right.
The Trump economy is not a boon to black people.
No.
It simply isn't.
It isn't a boon to business. The reason
All business.
All business.
Break it down.
The reason the numbers of employment were slowing is because new firm formation was falling. New business creation was falling. Why does it fall? It falls because how do I get a business, grow a business? I need customers. I need more customers. And then I need more customers. So if 187 million American households are getting a raise, that's 187 million people who didn't have the money before, who suddenly wake up and say, I have more money. What should I do with it? Yeah. And that's when you as a business person say, I got an idea of what you can do with it.
Right.
But if you wake up and it's 1%, not 187 million households, it's 1 million households who wake up and say, I got more money. That's a different world. First off, the 1 million that we're talking about are Ivana Trump. So it's not.
They're not coming to your tailor shop
at all.
Exactly.
They're going to the sweatshop in China.
Right.
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly.
Come on.
And so this doesn't help me if I'm trying to start a business.
Yeah.
And so how do I start or how do I grow my business if I can't get new customers? If new people aren't coming around, that means I have to take your customer.
My God.
And in order for me to take your customer, I got to cut my prices to beat your price. So now how do I do that? One, I can discount, and we have seen thousands of retailers close because I can discount once, I might discount twice. If I discount 5 times, I'm out of business. Right. And these retailers are closing because there's a limit to being able to do that.
Well, look, we're at the lowest number in a very long time of black McDonald's operators. What did I hear from the past decade from many of those brothers and sisters? They kept saying when McDonald's corporate would issue this edict in terms of the dollar menus, they were like, yo, we can't make money. And then the store owner said, we're responsible for also having to refurbish our stores.
Right.
And so they're saying, and then very few black McDonald's operators owned 50 or 100 different stores. Yeah, white McDonald's operators who did. And so you get this whole issue that they're saying, look, you're forcing us to have this dollar menu. Do understand, if it goes from $1.69 to $1, that's 69 cents times 1,000 customers. That money's coming out of my pocket. And so when you talk about price cuts, and I've been saying this for decades. I love it when people talk about, Walmart's slogan is low, low prices. And people run around and tell me, Walmart should be paying their workers more. This is unfair. But guess what? If you as a consumer keep demanding, I want low, low prices and I want it cheaper, the money is going to come from somewhere. Yeah. And so, why did Levi's stop making jeans in San Francisco and went overseas? Because American buyers didn't want to pay $45 for a pair of jeans.
Come on.
They wanted to pay $19.99.
Come on.
And guess what? A company, if you want to pay $19.99, I'm going to go to a place where I'm paying somebody 35 cents or $1 a day to make it.
Yeah, but see, all of that is driven because if for a long time you freeze the customer base, you force the companies to that. And it isn't so much that Americans don't want American-made jeans. If I don't keep getting a raise, how do I pay for my stuff?
Precisely.
Right. And so here's the thing, when we were doing the minimum wage bill in the House, which the House passed.
Yes.
The House has passed the $15 minimum wage for the whole country. We have business owners who said, look, I got 8 workers. I have 40,000 customers. Do I want my 40,000 customers to have more money? 40,000 customers to have more money. Or do I worry about these 8 people I got to pay more money to?
Right.
I want my customers to have more money because that's more money for me to get.
But they kept making the argument that, oh no, I got to pay more to my 8 employees, and never brought the customers up, Greg.
No, I was just going to ask Bill. I mean, because one of the very important roles you play with the AFL-CIO was helping us understand how this translates into policy changes. How do we attack this from a policy level, man? Because this extreme inequality is going to tear this country apart.
It will tear the country apart because it's going to freeze the economy.
Yes.
It slows the growth. That's why, look, you got unemployment at 3%. How come you don't see automobile manufacturing through the roof? How come home sales aren't through the roof? At 3% unemployment, there should be child's play to sell a car. Right. Everybody has a job. Why don't they just flood around saying, I want a car? They can't afford it.
Bruh, do you realize I cannot even explain to you in the past year how many text messages I get, and they not only that, they text my sister, they text my mama, they call her daddy, trying to buy my house.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
No question.
Really crazy. And I'm like, no, I ain't selling. Take me off your damn list.
Right.
And I was sitting and I'm going like, it really started about a year ago. And I'm going, what? Like, how in the hell all of a sudden? I mean, I'm talking about like it was like every day. I'm like, first, behind the hell y'all got my phone number? But what's happening is housing starts. You do not have enough housing stock. Yeah. And so what these investor groups are doing,
they're buying whatever they can get.
They're buying, knowing full well that if you want to sit here and buy my house for $190,000, $200,000, you're going to turn that bad boy around and sell that sucker for $230,000, $240,000, $250,000. So they're trying to accumulate a housing stock. Right. I mean, I get text messages and calls every single day, and I'm going, what is causing this? And that's what's happening.
But the extreme inequality is what I'm saying. I mean, we heard Eric when you talking about homelessness. I mean, but the people are still having babies, and people got to live somewhere. That's why I ask, in terms of a policy fix, is this about reinstating the tax cuts that were given? Is this about redistributing the federal tax revenue?
You cannot exacerbate the inequality.
Right, that's what I'm hearing.
So those tax cuts have to be repealed.
Okay.
Right.
So people forget markets are markets. If you're going to drive everything by a market, nothing in the market equation guarantees that everybody can afford it. In fact, precisely the opposite, right? The market clears for diamonds. Everybody can't afford a diamond.
Right.
A house is no different. A house is no different. Just because it's a market doesn't mean when the market price comes in, everybody can afford it any more than everybody can afford a diamond.
So you need government. That guy yelling at Elizabeth Warren doesn't understand. The state has to play a role.
It has to play a role, but before we were deluded because we were a middle income country in the sense that 60% of the income was in the middle 3 quintiles. So what does that mean? That means that the bulk of the money to buy a house, it's in the middle. So if I'm building a house, I build for
Houses
the money
for the middle.
For the middle.
Not $400,000 and $500,000 and $600,000
Exactly.
houses.
Wait, exactly.
Condos.
Right. Oh, right.
Condos, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 condos, not even full houses.
Yeah. So now
Town.
now over half the income is in the top 10%.
My God.
That means that's where the money is, and they are the market.
And the top 10% ain't buying houses because they already bought it.
Exactly. And the only home they want, right, is the home that me and the top 10% want.
Right.
And if I'm building homes, that's who I'm building it for.
And then what happened because of the home foreclosure crisis when the federal government bailed out those banks, the banks, remember, toxic assets. Then they went, oh, hell, we can do whatever we want with the money. Shore up our bottom line. We gonna hold on to these homes. And then what did they do? They sold lots of 25 and 30,000 homes to hedge funds and private equity. And those folks ain't selling the homes. They're making folks become renters. So people are actually paying more to rent those homes than what they will be paying to actually pay a mortgage. And they sitting here making off like a fat rat because you ain't got a choice because you can't buy a home elsewhere because you can't afford that expensive house. And so we bailed their trifling asses out. They turned around, did nothing with those assets, and now are making money off people being renters. And so what is happening is, that's why you got this weird thing happening now where folks they're complaining about the Ubers of the world, but people are saying, I can't afford to buy a car. Okay, I can't afford to park anywhere. I can't afford to park in downtown because it's too much. And so we are essentially a country that if you are not 100,000 or more, you are absolutely screwed. And to your point, you have to look at just the pure numbers. If that represents only 10, 15% of the population, what you gonna do with the other 80, 85?
This is the question. This is the question.
And 90. And Trump and his tax policies don't give a damn about those people. And that's why all these red states run people running around. I'm like, y'all, 10% of Wisconsin dairy farmers have declared bankruptcy. I'm like, so your life is better under Trump than it was Obama? We handed out $30 billion in welfare to farmers. And Trump says he might do another $50 billion because he's basically buying their votes.
Well, this is the problem.
Last point, go ahead.
Well, it's the problem when you collapse the middle income. So, yeah, it's hard to be a dairy farmer because those are the people who buy the milk. And you've already squeezed them. So, yeah, they're going to have problems. You cannot have this level of inequality, and you can't sustain it.
Right.
This debt.
And also, real quick, you talk about the milk thing. And I know somebody may be thinking, well, it makes no sense. The cereal companies are now in trouble.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Because you can't afford milk. Ain't nobody eating no damn cornflakes and water.
Well, Michael Irvin and them used to do it in South Florida.
But it's one of those things
No question.
that people don't understand.
Don't understand it.
If you can't afford milk and you stop buying milk, you're not going to buy cereal.
No.
And those cereal companies are complaining about, guess what? They're losing dollars because folks ain't buying cereal.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
My
And so we can't, as a country, do it. This student debt is key to understanding the whole inequality thing. Because when you say the colleges are going to be driven by tuition, that means who has money.
That's right.
So I'm going to run my university for the people who have money.
There you go.
And what will the tuition be? what the people who have money
There you
can
go.
afford. So there's no surprise that at the University of Michigan, more students are from the top 1%. This is a huge university, the University of Michigan.
Right.
More students from the top 1% than the bottom 40%. There's a reason for that.
And that, if it continues, further exacerbates income inequality.
Exactly.
Because you're not giving folks in the middle and lower classes an opportunity to be able to get those degrees, to be able to put themselves in a different tax bracket in the next generation.
And you already played the debt trick. You can't get people to do $1 trillion in debt again. You
No.
can't. It's not possible.
Nope.
It's not possible.
Right.
Dr. Bill Spriggs, we appreciate it. Thanks for breaking it down for us. This is why we have this show, because trust me, you're not going to hear this conversation on CNBC or Bloomberg or Fox Business, because that's just the real deal there. We appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
All right, folks, the Congressional Black Caucus, they are calling for a national emergency meeting of black leadership. It is called The Future of Black America, a call to action. It's a two-day conference taking place February 3rd and February 4th. Now, February 3rd will be taking place at the Hyatt Regency Washington Capitol Hill. On February 4th, it will be taking place in the auditorium in the Visitor Center on Capitol Hill. Their goal, of course, is to have a variety of plenary sessions and workshops covering key issues impacting African Americans. Those will include discussing issues, strategies, and the work needed in various communities dealing with the census, but also the 2020 election. And for more information on this, you can go to cbc.house.gov/2020 summit, cbc.house.gov/2020 summit. I'm going to be moderating one of the sessions on February 3rd. Also, Roland Martin Unfiltered is going to be live streaming both days, February 3rd and February 4th. That's one of the reasons why we created this platform. So we certainly thank Chairwoman Karen Bass for reaching out to us to assist in this. And so it is a two-day national emergency meeting, call to action for national African American leadership. That summit taking place February 3rd and February 4th. So please, folks, for more information, go to cbc.house.gov/2020 summit.
Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, I got to do this here before I go to my next guest. Santor Thomas of Detroit is filing a second lawsuit. First of all, before I even go there, please, by all means.
No charcoal grills are allowed.
I'm white. I got you, huh?
Illegally selling water without a permit
On my property.
Whoa! Hey!
You don't live here.
I'm uncomfortable.
All right, Santor Thomas of Detroit, okay, so he's filed his lawsuit. Well, here's what happened. Okay, the brother had filed a racial discrimination lawsuit against his former employer, okay? He gets a settlement. He then goes to TCF Bank in Livonia to cash the check. They refuse to cash or deposit the check. What do these white folks do? They call the cops to initiate a fraud investigation. Guess what Thomas doing? Suing a trifling ass for race discrimination, saying the bank mistreated and humiliated him by calling 4 police officers when all he was doing was depositing a legitimate check. Now, according to the police, the bank's computer system read the checks as fraudulent. Y'all, he didn't walk in there with a Publishers Clearinghouse check. Right. Bank spokesman Tom Winterberg said that TCF abhors racism, and it was not a factor in how the bank handled Thomas's request. He said the checks Thomas presented displayed a watermark that read void when they were scanned in a web viewer. Now, that must be something, Greg, to have a racial discrimination settlement.
Bro.
And now you about to have a second racial discrimination settlement?
Come on, bro.
Man, this brother hit the lottery twice.
Man, I mean, what blew my mind was when he sat down, and then the sister was like, "Well, I will go back. Let me go back and check." And she didn't even go back to check.
Right.
She went directly to call the police.
She did.
He gave her the number of his lawyer. Said, "Call." He did this, bro. And what he said was, "I'm just gonna remain calm because I know if I go off in here, I'm going to jail."
Erica, I don't understand how hard is it to say, sir, This is the issue that we have.
Yes.
This is the check. This watermark that's on the check is prohibiting us. It is telling us that blah, 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 blah. How is it that your first reaction, and this always happens with black people,
Always.
the first reaction is to call a popo?
Oh, and if that was the true account, this brother had 3 checks. The 2 larger checks, he asked for those checks to be deposited into his account. The smaller check is the one that he wanted cash. And so this is what I have an issue with in Tom's statement. When he talks about this man, he goes on to talk about this abhorring racism and discrimination, which I think that ought to be a statement that ought to be struck from any PR firm, anyone that goes on the defense to talk about why they did something. But Tom then goes on to say in his statement how much money this man had in that account. That has nothing to do. If he put 2 of the larger checks into his account, that means that they're there for clearance. That means that all of the proper channels have to be, checked in order for that money to be deposited into his account. A $13,000 check is the one that he actually wanted cashed. And so I'm having a hard time with a black man walking into a banking establishment, having 4 police officers to then interrogate him when it was none of their damn business in the first place, wanting legal documents that's none of their damn business anyway, something that had nothing to do with them. And he's saying that this is happening to me. I am a veteran. I have stood for a country that has not stood for me. I am black. Had I been white, this would not have even been happening. He was not arrested. No charges were filed. But he knew that the intimidation tactics that were employed on him, had he not kept his cool, like you said, Dr. Carr, it could have been a whole different scenario. So this kind of like rigmarole and brother is going to get paid again, it really just makes no sense.
Eugene,
this is the black experience.
we know it with no black people at the
Let me
bank.
tell you something. Tom really going to abhor racism after that next check will be cut. He really going to abhor racism.
All I'm saying is, white people in Michigan, y'all better put his picture up because he gonna be collecting. If y'all,
let me tell you, if Homeboy's going to cash a $13,000 check, he about to be probably cash a $130,000 check from this bank after.
But didn't he take the checks and go to the other bank? He went to another bank and just put the checks to Eric's point.
The thing is this.
right, it was that branch.
But it was that branch. But the thing is this. There are safeguards in place when it comes to tech fraud.
No question.
But the most important thing is this. You got him on camera. You got a copy of his ID. You have every piece of information.
He gave you his lawyer's phone number.
He gave you the lawyer's phone number.
A brother don't. It's the same as a brother who got 12 years in prison with a cell phone in Mississippi. Ain't nobody who trying to do wrong gonna give your ass the phone to charge you if they thought it was illegal.
That's right.
That's just how crazy it is. But I keep telling you, I appreciate all you crazy ass white people for what y'all do. First of all, I want y'all keep messing with black people, y'all gonna get fired. That means that we can apply for your jobs. And so y'all keep doing this.
You're a good job.
We're gonna keep suing and gonna keep getting paid. So I'm just trying to say, y'all wanna keep doing it. And so some of y'all out there keep asking me, especially these crazy, what them foolish black Republicans like, what if that was a segment called Crazy Ass Black People? That's called mainstream media.
Come on,
That's
sir.
right. Come on.
Come on.
This is unfiltered time.
Come on.
That's right.
So you don't have Malik and Deontay tweeting your way, son.
Right, yeah. Bring your ass, Deontay. Bring your ass.
That's right.
So if you don't like Crazy Ass White People segment, tell white people, stop being crazy. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks, I got to go to this story right here, the last one before we leave, and that is a Ball State University professor called the cops on a student who declined the teacher's request that he move desk during the middle of class. Here's what took place.
Yo. Who's, are you in this class? Yeah. What should I let me talk to you about?
I'm just asking
Well,
him
sir.
to sit here because you said no, I'm not.
Did you want to sit
No, that's fine with me. But you said I'm not going
My laptop is on the charger.
No, if he sits here, that's fine with me. But you know I'm not going to sit. I do whatever I like to.
All right, you want to sit here or do you want to leave?
Why am I moving in the middle of class? He legit stopped the class to try to move me. I've been back here on this PowerPoint.
Are you being disruptive in the class?
No, I'm not doing that. The whole damn class is here. It's cool.
On the
It's
lesson
cool.
the whole
You know what?
time.
I'm gonna leave.
He's been on our work the whole time with a plug.
I got some
He hasn't said or done anything wrong.
You guys not said a word.
What else said a word?
The PowerPoint, you said nothing.
What I do, if you want to, whatever your name is, take it up to the dean.
It's
You want
cool,
to get your
man.
backpack?
Yeah, don't even worry about it, boss man.
Okay.
All right. Even though the student Sultan Benson was not being disrupted, the professor, Shaheen Borna, stopped in the middle of a lecture to ask Benson to move his seat. He gave him the option to either move or have the police call. Ball State President Jeffrey Mearns called the professor's call to police a gross error in judgment. What, Pam, what the hell?
Defiance. It's defiance. That is the essence of so many confrontations that we see between people who either have authority or think they should have authority, and their inability to get an African-American person or a young person or a Latino person or whoever, they can't get them to comply. And so they call the police to enforce their authority. And the only reason they do that is because they simply cannot stand the idea of their authority being challenged and thwarted. That's what's going on here. I don't think it's more complicated than that. He didn't have, at the end of the day, what would have happened if he had just let it go and let the guy sit where he was sitting? What would have happened? Nothing. But he would have had to swallow the pride of having his authority challenged and not being able to back it up. And that's really so he calls an officer, right? And we've seen so many things on Twitter rolling by now, so many examples of people confronting black people in places they don't think they deserve to be, they shouldn't be, they're sleeping in the wrong place, they're picnicking in the wrong place, they're selling lemonade, and every single time the answer is the same: call the cops to enforce my authority.
I don't get this. Lauren. You go into a classroom, it's open seating, it's no assigned seating, and you stop a lecture. No. You move here. No. You move here.
The saddest thing, Roland, about these things that we see is how small people's lives are. That it comes down to, I have to have this moment of control so badly that I've called armed law enforcement to waste their time on nonsense. And what it shows you is that I just think that a lot of people just live these like really boring or really small lives where that moment of control and power has to be exercised, that becomes like the thing, It's embarrassing. And this guy is like a marketing professor that has an MBA that's supposed to be some expert in PR. And he's too stupid to realize that there's going to be somebody in the class filming this. I really appreciate the voices in the background of that video defending the guy that didn't want to move. But it's just so stupid that people, that their lives are so, I guess, boring or whatever, that they got to bring everything to these weird moments. And really, social media has sort of opened a window into how small people's lives are. I mean, that you can't catch yourself and say, hey, wait a minit, this is not really a big deal. The guy could just sit back. Like, who cares? But it's amazing. It is amazing.
Mel, now is the time. I really want to see a video where a cop goes, you call us over this bullshit?
Right.
We got real stuff happening.
Right.
We got real stuff happening. You know what? No, I'm serious. Here's the deal. If you file a false police complaint, you can get charged.
Right.
I'm sorry. If somebody calls the cops on some dumb bullshit, this is where the cops should hit your ass with. Now, what? I'm writing you up.
Right.
And it should be. And what law did I violate? You called me on some stupid shit.
Right.
So you getting a ticket. I mean, some of y'all are like, okay, why he cussing? Because I'm sorry. This is, you call two police officers.
Right.
Because a student wouldn't switch desk.
Yeah.
Right.
Melly, final comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll co-sign what Pam said. This was a challenge to his authority. And that's really what this was about. Whether he would have done it if the person were black or white or Hispanic, I think that this is an issue that's specific to this guy. His authority was challenged. As you said, there is no assigned seating in class. So the notion that somehow, for one, that he asked him to move is already bad. But then you called the cops, and I don't know if they were campus security, but either way, an extension of law enforcement is what they were. I'm actually going to go back and look and see, because I would be interested in the cops' reaction, like if there's like a later reaction, because to me it seems like those they weren't those rogue cops who were coming in, trying to pull him out of class or something. It seemed like, and at least based on the response from the class, that they may have seen that this was actually some BS. I think that, and not particularly with law enforcement, I think that the school should actually hold that professor accountable for that, because he ended up causing a disruption while trying to call the cops to remove a disruption. It's a stain on the university. It's a stain on their program. And I think that the school itself, and I don't think that the professor should be fired. I will say that. I don't think the professor should be fired, but the school should definitely take some type of action, because what if other professors decide to do this this same thing? They don't like someone sitting in a seat, so they're going to call the authorities in order to get that person removed. It's ridiculous. It's BS.
I'm sorry. It's total BS. It's total BS. Today in Davos, Donald Trump gave his speech, and this idiot actually said this.
My administration has also made historic investments in historically black colleges and universities. I saved HBCUs. We saved them. They were going out, and we saved them.
You looking at me? Mm-mm. Why? We know he lied.
I ain't looking at you.
Oh, okay. Oh. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Don't put the camera on me. Put it on Malik's ass.
I'm looking away from the camera. I refuse.
No, hold on. Just in case y'all didn't hear that clearly, let me go ahead and go back to my iPad, please.
Oh. Have already seen their home values rise by more than $22 billion. My administration has also made historic investments in historically black colleges and universities. I saved HBCUs. We saved them. They were going out, and we saved them. We're removing roadblocks to success and rewarding businesses have already seen their home values rise.
So, no, Mr. President, you did not save HBCUs. I get your point. And I know that sometimes there's an awkwardness when you're talking about things that you've done for the black community, but the manner in which you chose to do so right there kind of invites the criticism. There's a lot that you can say about the record funding that you've gotten for HBCUs, or the Pell Grants, or schools like Spelman or North Carolina A&T and other schools who got grants that are for their STEM programs. I mean, there's a lot that you can say.
Hold on, Pell Grants and those grants are two different things.
I'm sorry, not Pell Grants. Grants for their STEM programs. So, there are lots of schools, HBCUs, that have actually benefited from that. But you make it a little difficult for those of us out there who support you when you make a very general statement that's really not true, that you saved HBCUs. And I don't know if you actually mean that, or is it that type of awkward? I don't know if he actually meant that he
meant it.
I don't know if he actually really thinks that. I think sometimes that the president.
Did he think?
I think possibly not.
So somebody wrote a speech.
And that he did not. Now, I would be surprised if saving HBCUs was actually part of the speech. We know that our president ad-libs.
Okay, dude, no, that wasn't ad-libbing. HBCU.
I was on the television.
No, well, that part.
Yeah, rehearse this.
But I'm saying that saving.
You always know when Donald Trump is reading.
But I'm saving the saving part. I can't imagine, unless he just really pressed it, but I can't imagine Jerron or any of those saying, yes, Mr. President, you saved HBCUs. He's good for ad-libbing, and when he ad-libs,
He's good for lying.
He generally gets himself in trouble.
Kelly,
so
he's good for lying.
I mean, that's really all there is to it. He lied because he did not say HBCUs. You're talking to, what was the World Economic...
He literally said they were going away.
Yep.
That means that Howard and TSU and Spelman, North Carolina A&T and Tennessee State
and
Texas Southern
Hampton
University and Paul Quinn, they were just about to just evaporate.
Yeah.
But the Great White Hope,
he sprinkled some fairy
came
dust.
in and said, "I decree that you're saved."
I mean, obviously that's not true. We have 105 HBCUs in the country right now, Bowie State, my alma mater included. Bowie State's not going anywhere. It hasn't even been threatened to go anywhere for quite some time, if ever. Campus is doing better than ever, actually. You know, I can't say that they are in jeopardy of losing anything. If anything, they are, you know, setting themselves up to actually grow exponentially within the next 10 years, even sooner, actually. So I know my HBCU is not going away. Howard University is certainly not going away.
Check this out. You're going to love this one, Kelly. So go to my iPad, AP fact check. Trump's Davos remarks rife with distortion. Rife. What's number one? Black colleges. Black colleges. Now, they say Trump signed a law in December restoring money that lapsed for several months when Congress failed to reauthorize some $255 million in financing on time. The money came back because Senate education leaders reached a compromise on a broader dispute that had entangled financing for black schools. Y'all, $255 million. You said 105.
Yeah.
So does Donald Trump really believe that $255 million, let's just be clear, that he did not, that wasn't even him? I mean, literally, that wasn't him. The House passed it, and Lamar Alexander and the Senate held it up, and then they finally went through. Does he somehow think that 105 HBCUs can exist on $255 million?
Well, let's be fair here. That's the money that Congress actually put up. So it's not like the president actually gave them that number. This is what Congress, which is the House,
No. Let me. Do you need to play the clip again?
We know what he's. Well, let's separate what he said from the actual facts.
No,
but
first of all, I just read the facts. The fact of the matter is this here. Congress was reauthorizing a program that already existed.
Yes.
The House passed it.
Yes.
It went to the Senate.
Yes.
Senator Lamar Alexander did not want to do something that was different. And so, therefore, they did not pass it in time. With negotiation between Senator Lamar Alexander, HBCUs in the state, you had Congresswoman Alma Adams in the House as well. They finally got Senator Lamar Alexander to agree to the funding of this program. But when you stand before all these rich folks in Davos and say, I saved HBCUs, they were going to go away, but I saved them.
Yeah, well, again, we know...
He's lying.
We do know that that's not true. And as
he's lying.
And as I said on your show before, what Senator Alexander was actually doing is exactly part of what they ended up passing anyway with the reforms in the Higher Education Act. So that is part of the reason why it was held up.
We know the reason why it was held up, but he did not save them.
Well...
That's a lie.
But we understand that. But if we can just focus on what...
he understand
But if we can focus on what the facts are...
No! We're trying to focus on the facts. Your boy, the guy who you gonna vote again, is a serial liar. Let me go to the next one.
He may be that, but can we talk about what the facts are?
This is a blue-collar boom. Since my election, the net worth of the bottom half of wage earners has increased by plus 47%, 3 times faster than the increase for the top 1%. Y'all, he lying. Mining and logging industry, according to AP, lost 21,000 jobs last year. Manufacturing has only added 9,000 jobs in 6 months, while the economy gained gained more than 1.1 million during that period.
So
now this is what he said. Now, here's what it says. AP, he's right that net worth among the bottom half has risen, but from such a low base that no boom can be claimed. The Federal Reserve says the bottom half has just 1.6% of the nation's wealth, up from 1.1 when Trump took office. That's down from 2.1% in 2006. Y'all, he's trying to talk about, oh, how much it's just increasing the top 1%. Hell, the top 1% got so much damn money. We know what they increased when that damn tax cut helped them out in a huge way.
So they
Let me also go to the next one.
So they went back.
Hold on. I ain't done.
years.
I ain't done. For the first time in decades, we're no longer simply concentrating wealth in the hands of a few. We're concentrating in creating the most inclusive economy to ever exist. Flat out lie. Wealth is overwhelmingly concentrated in the hands of a few. The richest 1% of Americans own 32% of the nation's wealth. About the same as early 2017 when Donald Trump was inaugurated. The middle class share, defined by the Fed as those from the exact middle of the wealth distribution up to the top 10%, remain at about 29%, despite the slight gains of the bottom half. The percentage of Americans who own their own homes, a key source of wealth building, has improved modestly under Trump, but remains below the level seen as recently as 2013. And we also know for African Americans, it is the lowest since 1968.
So what?
Trump, quote, "We have the greatest economy we've ever had in the history of our country. And I'm in Europe today because we're bringing a lot of other companies into our country with thousands of jobs, millions of jobs in many cases." Lie. AP, the facts. His persistent depiction of the U.S. economy as the greatest ever is false. As for jobs pouring into the country, investment by foreign companies has slumped under Donald Trump. Foreign countries directly invested $268 billion into the U.S. economy in 2018, a decrease of nearly $220 billion from its record-breaking level in 2016 when Barack Obama was president. Why does he keep lying, Malik?
Well, I'm pretty sure that I didn't actually listen to the speech itself, but I'm pretty sure that he was actually given that data. And some of the things that you mentioned, whether or not it was the
So why does his people keep lying?
So whether or not some of the things that you mentioned, like the up 1.4 or so percentage points, but it's not up from the same level in 2006 or something. This is something that statisticians and people who create talking points use literally all the time.
Oh, no, how about this here? No, Malik, you follow sports?
Yes.
Okay. If I scored 40 points in a game,
that's not how it works in politics,
if I scored 40 points in a game,
yes,
and then the next game I scored 28, I can't say I almost scored 40 points again.
But Roland,
no, facts are facts.
Facts are facts, Roland.
So why does your boy lie?
But we know
why does he lie?
We know that politics.
Why does he lie?
We know that politicians routinely.
No. Why does your guy, who has lied nearly 17,000 times since president, he lies on average 22 times a day?
We know. You know, just as everybody on the panel knows, that these type of data points are things that campaigns, organizations.
No, we have in modern history, Malik, we have never seen a lie, Kelly. In modern history, we have never seen in modern history, Kelly.
But Roland,
we have never seen a liar. We have never seen a liar like Donald Trump.
But that's not going to change, though,
But you
Roland.
could vote for a liar.
That's not. I voted for liars.
Right, but you vote for the greatest liar we've had in modern history.
Well, I voted locally for liars.
No. So you're going to vote for the greatest presidential liar in modern history.
I voted locally for liars.
I'm talking about president.
Whose policies directly affect me, while the greatest liar in modern presidential history.
I ain't say local. I'm talking about president.
Well, it actually local actually matters.
Yeah, okay.
What
Kelly,
happens in your
bottom line is this man. Kelly, go ahead. Malik, I'm done with you.
You can call him
Kelly, this man is a massive liar.
This man is a
massive liar.
But I just want to say this: what Donald Trump could have said, and I don't know why they didn't actually.
Ain't no what could have said. We discussing what he said.
What Donald Trump could have said is that he actually, because of his signature, that now HBCUs have a permanent funding mechanism. That's actually true. And if anybody would want to check that, that's fine. But that's actually true.
Kelly, go ahead.
So bravo, Donald Trump on that.
Kelly, go ahead.
So, I'm sorry, I keep laughing. When Malik asked why or how his administration gives him these facts or whatever, and Roland said, well, why is his administration lying to him? This is almost textbook behavior of a narcissist and someone who is legitimately, obviously delusional and is so invested in self and self-image and ego that he can't comprehend anything that is not what he wants it to be. So in order for, frankly, his administration, those closest to him specifically, to still have a job, they have to give him information in such a way that not only feeds his ego, but confirms what he thinks is already true. And as crazy as that sounds, that's what's happening. He did not save HBCUs. That is a lie.
And we all know that.
But
we spent 30 minutes talking about something that we know not true. But we can talk about what he did do, though.
But Malik, here's the deal, though. The guy you voted for, his administration backs up the lie. We know, Mustafa, that according to the reporting from NBC, senior intel officials do not want to testify in public because they don't want to be asked questions that contradicts the lies of Donald Trump. We literally have intel officials who are saying, damn, we don't want to have to get questioned in public because he lied, and now when I get questioned, I'm going to tell the truth, and I'm going to get cussed out because his ass lying.
And I had to lie to him in order to keep my job.
The lies.
Right.
Go ahead.
I mean, here's the reality. Let's hit on the two things that we've been talking about. One, if you're truly a champion for HBCUs, then you would significantly increase the amount of resources that are needed there.
And he has. Not significantly, but he definitely has increased it over the Obama administration. So you're right.
It's
not enough.
Go ahead.
It's not enough.
Here's the second thing.
It's not enough.
I like to ground truth things. And brother, if you'd like to ride with me when I go back home to Appalachia, I will take you across the state. And we can go across a couple state lines. We can go to Kentucky, we can go to West Virginia, we can go to Western Pennsylvania, we can go to Ohio. And what you will find is that the people who were in poverty before are in poverty now, and in some instances, even in a greater.
Yeah.
So if you have an economy that is working for all people, why is it that these folks, if you have the greatest economy ever, why is it that they're still in this situation?
Because they've always been, though.
But see, that you're missing the point. If you say you are the savior of people, and people can vote for whomever they want to.
But we know politicians say that.
But see, that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable.
But it was acceptable when Obama was in office. So these poor people in all of those states,
we just
they
saw
were
the
poor
numbers.
under Obama.
We saw the numbers before that things have gotten worse.
So are you saying they weren't poor under Obama?
Actually, what we're stating is this here.
But were they not poor under Obama?
Since you always talking about wanting to lay the facts out, what we also understand is that under President George W. Bush, you had the biggest financial crisis since the Great Depression. Obama gets elected.
Got us out of it.
Obama gets in. All of a sudden, unemployment goes up for African Americans nearly 17%. It's increasing. We were losing on average 500,000 jobs a month.
He stopped that.
He stopped all of that. But then you got Mr. Clueless, who then wants to claim that, oh my God, I've done all these great things. But the fact of the matter is, you actually did not put the things in place to fix the economy. That's one. Two, you look at black folks.
Wait a minute,
one second, I'm not done.
So this is Obama's economy.
Excuse me. Black folks losing 53% of all wealth. And that is because of the home foreclosure crisis that took place under President George W. Bush. So the point I'm making is this here. When somebody claims that they've done all these different things, you have to look at what was the condition of the country when Obama walks in, what was the condition of the country in those 8 years, and then what is the condition of the country when it's left. If I say, Malik, you can stay at my house, and I left your ass a clean house. Just because you wiped the counter down one time don't mean that you can then claim that you cleaned the house. All you did was wipe down one damn counter. That's what you're dealing with. But again, what you have is Donald Trump, somebody who will knowingly and easily lie. And then when called on it, they will defend the lie as opposed to just don't put the lie in. They could have easily averted the lie but just stating what you've actually done. But
1.1 versus 1.7
but we knows this here. But we knows this here.
Roland, you know
no. When you say,
but you know how it works, Roland.
They were going away.
Well, and I criticized them for that.
So again, Bob Vine is he lying
for that.
Hey y'all,
You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
All right, folks, the NFL this week unveiled a PSA centered around the story of Botham Jean, the black man who was shot and killed by former Dallas police officer Amber Geiger. She was sentenced to prison for his murder. A lot of people are asking, really, NFL? You're focusing on this when you're still whiteballing Colin Kaepernick? Here's the PSA.
Botham Jean is my son. He is an active child. He is the light in any dark room.
Botham is my little brother. He is the kindest, sweetest person you could ever know. He is funny. If my mom and I have a disagreement, we would stop. Let's call Botham. Let's see what he says.
He just loved people. He was very particular of the company he kept. So I felt that he was not in harm's way.
Botham was in his apartment watching football, eating ice cream, and the officer came in and killed him.
To know Botham was to love Botham. The world has lost a great man. He was destined for greatness.
Botham was everything to us. I just can't do without him being there. I look forward to the day Botham would have gotten married, having kids. Life is not sweet anymore.
Yeah, what I hope to see happening is that our black boys are not seen as a threat.
The color of my skin can be perceived as a weapon, and it's not.
What has happened to Botham should not happen to another family.
I started the Botham Jean Foundation. We have to continue where Botham started and just keep his legacy going for years and years to come.
Why should there be hatred for each other? My young son demonstrated forgiveness. Brent, forgive one who just killed his brother.
There are things that must be done and must be done quickly. We must change this all around.
Here was a tweet sent out by Jamel Hill. I think I remember someone named Colin Kaepernick taking a knee to protest the police killings of unarmed black people and being blackballed. I use the word whiteballed from the NFL because of it. I had to have been dreaming, right? Lauren, what the hell was that?
No idea what that was. If they want to do something real, hire some black coaches and put some money in the pockets of African Americans who, I mean, this is an 80% African American league. And you want to do a PSA, it's cool. It has nothing to do, my comments have nothing to do with Botham Jean or his family or anything like that. But that's not a tangible, okay? That's something that is just a window dressing, sort of feel-good thing that makes these people at the NFL feel good. But when it comes to something real, like, you know, employing Colin Kaepernick or other black folks in positions where they're making millions of bucks, you know, on the sidelines, controlling the game and controlling who comes on the team and who the assistant coaches are, all of a sudden they're vacant on that. So I'm not interested. I mean, it's nice that they did it in terms of a human aspect. Again, I'm not saying this in any, it's not a reflection on Botham Jean and what tragically happened to him, but they should be doing something a lot more tangible than that. The $1 billion sports league.
Pam, what's bothersome here is, okay, NFL, you put out a PSA, did with the Botham Jean case.
Anything about the good works of Philando Castile? Anything about the life of Rekia Boyd, who was shot and killed by cop Dante Servin in Chicago, who got away with murder? Anything about Ayanna Jones, the black girl in Detroit, who was killed as she laid in the bed when the cop alleges his gun just accidentally went off when somebody bumped into him? How about the elderly black woman in Atlanta where the cop stormed her house and shot and killed her? I mean, we can go on and on and on. So really, who is the NFL trying to play with this PSA when they're still whiteballing Colin Kaepernick?
Well, let's be honest. The basis of the whiteballing of Colin Kaepernick is not just onefold, it's twofold. It's not just that he was willing to protest the treatment of African Americans in our country and the injustices that they face, but he was also willing to defy ownership and leadership in the NFL. That's really a big part of why he is still out, is because they don't feel like they can control him. And he is such an influential voice to people all over the world, but especially young black men in this country, that they want to see contrition from him. They want to see him say, yes, I'm going to play by your rules and do things your way. That was what that whole tryout was about, was that they were going to set it up and it was going to be their way. And whether or not he actually got a job out of it, they wanted to see that he was going to do it their way. And he did not do that. And so, again, I think that's the basis, that's the nexus of his willingness to speak out, but also to do it in his own terms. And I think this PSA was really an effort by the NFL to say, hey, we got the point. You know, we understand Black Lives Matter too, and so then we're not bad. And I think that's the only way that I can contextualize doing that and doing it that way. And I think that that's maybe some feedback they got from Jay-Z to say, you know, you need to prove that you're getting what Kaepernick was getting at. But Kaepernick wasn't just getting at the fact that Black Lives Matter. He was getting at the fact that he has the right to express that as a grown man in the United States.
Melik, are you fooled by what the NFL is trying to do here?
I think fooled is really, I wouldn't actually use that word. I'm going to disagree slightly. The NFL is doing what we would like for the NFL to do. If Colin Kaepernick was playing, I'm pretty sure that no one would have a problem with the ad. Part of the challenge for me here is even as we discuss this, is that everything is centered around Colin Kaepernick. So if the NFL does something, then we have to say, but you didn't hire Colin Kaepernick. I actually agree with Lauren, and we talked about it on your show. You've been talking about it for several weeks now, as far as the leadership in the NFL. You know, who's, the front office team. You know, whether or not there are many of us, the number of us who are going into these spaces. I do believe that that's something that the NFL should focus on, but I don't think that because Colin Kaepernick, one person, is not playing, then that totally it doesn't validate everything else that the NFL is doing. What we should also realize is that it's not just Jay-Z. You know, the actual Players Association have been involved in pushing the NFL on some of these issues. So we really shouldn't just, and I know we're not just being overly critical here, but we really should acknowledge that there are NFL players who are pushing the NFL to do this because this is what we wanted them to do. I get it. Colin Kaepernick is not playing. Colin Kaepernick probably will never play in the NFL again. But if these are the things that we wanted the NFL to do, and the NFL does those things, and then we say, well, you didn't hire Colin Kaepernick. I mean, well, no, they didn't, but they're doing every other thing that we wanted them to do.
Melik, it's called calling out hypocrites. It's called exposing people.
But what if they didn't?
One second. It's called exposing people for who they are. It's saying, oh, you think that we're so dumb that we somehow don't understand that what you're doing is you want to show how you care about this story and this family when you, the owners, got upset and you are continuing to keep one particular player out because he dared to start a movement protesting the very type of things that led to the death of Botham Jean. That's why Colin Kaepernick's name is going to come up, and not just that he was whiteballed initially, that he is continuing to be whiteballed by the NFL. That says you are a hypocrite.
Roland, I totally get that, and I totally get the fight for Colin Kaepernick. But let me ask you this. If Colin Kaepernick were playing and the NFL came out with this ad, how would you feel? Would you still feel that there was a joke, that they're trying to take advantage of us, if Colin Kaepernick were playing?
No, actually, no, excuse me. If Colin Kaepernick was on an NFL team and the NFL released this PSA, I would not be calling them hypocrites.
Right. So
let me be clear. Let me be clear. I am calling them hypocrites because they are continuing to whiteball someone who protested the very type of thing that they are discussing in the PSA.
Totally get that.
Actually,
unfortunately, Colin is the martyr in this situation. Unfortunately, Colin is the martyr. He was the one who put his neck out there and he got chopped off, or however you want to characterize it. But there are plenty of other people, Eric Reed and others in the NFL, who have continued to do what Colin did. I get it. Colin is not playing.
But here's what you're missing, Malik. Malik, here's what you're missing. What you're missing is that Eric Reed is a defensive back. Kenny Stills is a wide receiver. Malcolm Jenkins is a defensive back. The quarterback position, out of all of the positions on an NFL football field, the quarterback position is the one that is closest identified with ownership.
Yeah.
The quarterback position, the quarterback position is a special. It is treated totally different than any other position on the football field, and that's why Colin Kaepernick is still out there. Lauren, go ahead.
But actually, they're not really discussing anything in that PSA. They had that's like a flowing biography thing that has nothing to do with police brutality or any of that discussion that they don't want to have and they don't want to confront. And that was the problem with Colin Kaepernick, right? He was confronting the issue of not only racism, but police brutality, which they don't want to have any discussion of that whatsoever in a league that's 80% black male, where you have that issue disproportionately impacting that particular demographic. Because the bottom line is they don't really care about anything other than the fact that these guys can make them billions of dollars. Other than that, they just want them to shut up and entertain, and that's what that is. So they just put out just some flowing biographical thing with his mother talking, and that has nothing to do, really, with the thing that Kaepernick was talking about. And that's why he's so dangerous, not just because, of course, Roland, you're right, because he's a quarterback in a prominent, obviously a prominent field position, the number one field position that you have in football, but he was confronting something they don't want to talk about, period. And every time he knelt down, they had to think about that. So what did they do? They got rid of him.
Right.
And really, these players, I think they don't realize really the power that they have, because they could stop the whole thing. The whole money train would stop if just maybe 100 of them decided, you know what, we're not playing on Sunday. Now what are you going to do about it?
But Roland, and Lauren makes a very good point, but I really want to stress this point, that there are players in the NFL who are doing those very things. There are players in the NFL who they are pushing the NFL to do things like this. So we can't ask for it, and then when they do it, we say, well, Colin's not playing, so I'm not going to like it.
But the NFL pushing the NFL.
No. That is not. No.
The NFL.
Okay, Malik, you just sat here and you just went nuts because what? No, Malik, you're wrong. You just sat here and talked about what Pam just did. Oh, she didn't quote you. No. What I am saying is this: when you, as an NFL, are continuing to whiteball a player who dared to raise the consciousness of people on these type of issues, and then you release this PSA, you are continuing to be a hypocrite because you are purposely keeping him out. Yeah. Two things can be true at the same time. Pam, I know you want to make a comment. Go ahead, Pam.
I think that Lauren is exactly right. I mean, at the end of the day, there may be a whole bunch of players in the NFL who have taken up this cause in various and sundry ways, but they're not the ones that Donald Trump said, fire the SOB and get him off the field. They weren't the ones who were being attacked directly. And so it's a symbolism. I mean, let's just be honest. This is very much symbolic. And the NFL, by holding out Colin Kaepernick and doing so in a coercive way. Let's not forget that he won that arbitration, and we don't know the exact dollar figure, but the estimates were upwards of $60 million from the NFL for colluding and keeping him out of the league. He won that case. They're working together to keep him out because they know how symbolic it is. So we can't pretend that it's not symbolic. We can't pretend that that isn't the intention, as you mentioned and as Lauren mentioned. Very good points. Which is, he'd be the field general of his team, and that is precisely what they don't want. They don't want a field general of that visibility confronting that issue that way.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, please join Reverend Dr. Jackie Hood Martin for an online masterclass that she is leading and that engages others to think like a leader. Many of you folks are looking to enhance their leadership skills or that of their team in 2020, so you can join this online course and mastermind group called How Successful People Think. Now, the offer expires February 28th, and so you want to go ahead and register now. So to register, go to www.live2lead, live, L-I-V-E, the number 2, lead, LEAD.com/Leesburg. Again, the address is www.live2lead.com/Leesburg. Again, it is the online class, How Successful People Think. And so there are a lot of folks out there, of course, who have life coaches and folks who are trying to get them to teach them to learn how to lead. And Dr. Jackie Hood Martin is a certified instructor through John Maxwell in his courses there. And so you definitely can take advantage of that. And again, last one, the website again is www.live2lead.com/Leesburg. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. First of all, we got an issue, of course, where Hillary Clinton is still making noises. There's a 4-part Hulu series that is called Hillary. That will be airing. And then, of course, it is set to premiere at the Sundance Film Festival this weekend. And in this particular docuseries, she did not mince words when it came to Senator Bernie Sanders. Quote, he was in Congress for years. He had one senator support him. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants to work with him. He got nothing done. He was a career politician. It's all just baloney, and I feel so bad that people got sucked into it. When asked if he gets a nomination, will she endorse and campaign for him? She responded, quote, I'm not going to go there yet. We're still in a very vigorous primary season. I will say, however, that it's not only on him, it's the culture around him. It's his leadership team. It's his prominent supporters. It's his online Bernie bros and their relentless attacks on lots of his competitors, particularly the women. And I really hope people are paying attention to that because it should be worrisome that he has permitted this culture. Not only permitted, he seems to really be very much supporting it. And I don't think we want to go down that road again where you campaign by insult and attack, and maybe you try to get some distance from it, but you either don't know what your campaign and supporters are doing, or you're just giving them a wink and you want them to go after Kamala Harris or after Elizabeth Warren. I think that's a pattern that people should take into account when they make their decisions. Now, all these media people ran with it, said, Hillary Clinton said she is not going to campaign for Bernie Sanders. It's not what she said. She never said such thing. She says, I'm not ready to go there yet. Why? Because her deal is not one vote has been cast. Reese, you have been quite animated on Twitter with your clapbacks towards Bernie bros, or you call them also Bernie brunettes.
Broettes.
Broettes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because Hillary is totally right. Let me start by saying, even if she didn't want to campaign for him, so what? She doesn't have to. The problem is we're not making people work for our votes anymore. It's just vote blue no matter who. No, you're an asshole. I don't want to vote for you. And Bernie is the worst, and so are his supporters. And I'm glad that she name-checked Kamala Harris, because these folks have gone after Kamala Harris for years. And so good on Hillary Clinton for standing up to Bernie Sanders. It's about damn time that somebody did it. Everybody's acting like they're scared of him because his bros are monsters. I said it, and I don't care. And you know what? They're not going to be able to bully their way to this primary, to the nomination, or to strong-arm people into voting for him. And if they don't think that there's going to be a huge never Bernie problem, they're in for a rude-ass awakening, period.
Let's go to Jason. What about that? What research you had to say?
I have to disagree with that. I think Hillary's making, in many ways, a big mistake. I understand what she's saying about, not wanting to go there yet. Bernie Sanders went to, I believe, 34 campaign stops for Hillary Clinton. And the other thing I would say is that Hillary Clinton is also destroying her legacy. She's making herself look like a sore loser who's looking for an excuse for why she lost. And I think in many ways, her criticism should be saved for her enemies. We have, we as Democrats oftentimes end up eating our own, and then we come out weakened, and I guess we're not stronger together, as what she said before. So, look, Bernie Sanders, if you think he's not the right candidate, support the candidate that you think is the best candidate. Exactly. But going after Bernie Sanders at this point, I think is really just a bad idea. It's bad for Democrats all around. And then we get surprised and on November 9th or, in 2016, we're wondering what happened. It's because we've fractured ourselves too much instead of actually saying, all right, we have an existential threat on the other side. We need to unite. And, the Bernie, there are some crazy Bernie people. There are some absolutely insane white feminist Hillary supporters do pretty much the same thing. I think it's just election season. There's good people. There's bad people. There's people who support people for good reasons. There are people who support people for the wrong reasons. And so I wouldn't. And the last thing I'll say really quickly is that this myth of the never Hillary or what was it, a Bernie or bust, that's actually been disproven by the numbers. More people abandoned President Obama from after voting for Hillary Clinton, voted for John McCain, than people who abandoned Hillary Clinton after voting for Bernie Sanders. So, that Bernie or bust thing is a myth. That's not even true.
Michael, I don't quite understand. I hear all the folks who say, oh, my God, this is hurting. And when I see people complain about Democrat circular firing squad, it's a damn election, okay? I'm sorry. Show me an election where everybody was nice and wonderful and hugging and we hug it all out. In an election, your job is to take out your opponent.
And that's what Bernie does.
Let's be clear. Mm-hmm. Obama had some major opposition research people going after Hillary Clinton. Mm-hmm. They weren't the best of buds. Oh, now he might have done it with a smile, but that's what you're dealing with. And so I don't get people who act as if Bernie Sanders shouldn't be going after Joe Biden. Joe Biden shouldn't be going after Buttigieg. They were all pissed off with Senator Harris when she went after Joe Biden. You're running a race. That's what the hell you do in an election.
And all we have to do is go back to 16, the Republican primary. They were going after each other like crazy. That's just, but the difference is when that primary was over, every single solitary one of them endorsed 45. All of them.
Right.
In our case, and again, I understand that Senator Sanders went to 34 stops for Secretary Clinton, but he was very late to the party. A lot of his supporters were late. They were still moaning and groaning on Twitter, talking about, oh, I'm not going to support her, even if Bernie does it. So there is a lasting, in the 16 GOP primary, I cannot, all of them, even when, and you were right, I forget what other panelist mentioned, this guy was talking about people's wives, their families, assassinating Kennedy.
Right. He accused Ted Cruz's daddy of being a part of the assassination plot to kill Kennedy.
And Cruz stood on that stage, hand in hand. I support this guy for president.
And that's the thing, Rob, that I don't quite understand. I mean, look, Republicans are going to be like, yo, it's about winning. Yeah. Democrats will walk around in their feelings. It's like, no, I'm going to stay at home, as if this evil man somehow is not going to win. That's stupid to me. That's stupid.
Yeah, and that was the most irresponsible part of Hillary Clinton's statement. The reason why she's not running right now, and if she wants to endorse somebody. But what she said, either directly or indirectly, is like, don't support this guy whatsoever. So I think two things. One, that might actually help him in the short run. If you didn't want him to be that's not what she should have done, in my opinion, from my perspective. Two, it looks like she is relitigating 2016 and making excuses. Both of us learned about excuses online about why she lost. Listen, there were some unfair things done to her. There's no question. But I don't see how this helps us resolve the current issue, which is the current president occupant of the White House and getting rid of him. So this helps promote. I mean, we're talking about Hillary Clinton. I'm sure this will help make money for the Hulu series, but it's not going to necessarily help us get rid of Donald J. Trump.
Well, wait a second.
That needs to be the focus.
Nobody attacks Democrats more than Bernie Sanders and the Justice Dems. They talk about the establishment, neoliberal corporate shield. Bernie Sanders has the Young Turks. He has the Intercept. He has the Guardian. He has Jacobin. He has all of these machines around him that pump out this message that the Democrats are the enemy, except for them. And now all of a sudden, when Hillary Clinton opens up her mouth, they want to talk about unity.
But
Hillary
Clinton is the former nominee for president.
Know that
One, say two. Two, she's been previously, like, she's a very high-profile person. She could do enough damage if he was to win. I'm not saying he is, and I'm not picking a candidate. I'm just saying I don't see how this, helps him not win in the primary, because then that might make people more motivated, get more money, and it seems like the polls are proving that point. And then second, in case he comes out, like, I think it makes it very difficult. It makes it even more difficult to get past it. So what was gained by this other than us talking about Hillary Clinton?
Okay, this is real simple. Okay, first of all, let's do with polls, national polls. Primaries are not national polls. They are state elections. And not even state elections. Iowa has a caucus. Okay? That's what's going on here. And so, I get all these national polls. National polls mean nothing. A national poll showing that Joe Biden can beat Donald Trump means nothing. Why? The election is determined by who can get to 270. Those are state elections. And here's the deal. Hillary Clinton said what she had to say. I don't give a shit. I really don't. My deal is she offered her opinion, just like Bernie Sanders offers his opinion. Okay? These things happen. And so, look, one of his supporters wrote this column blasting Joe Biden for corruption. Bernie had to come out and apologize for it. This is still an election. You're going to have people who don't like you. And that's just what it is.
Right.
Okay? And that's just a fact. But the real deal here, and look, let me just go ahead and put it on the table. There are a lot of Democrats who are pissed off at Bernie Sanders for jumping into the party, forcing the Democratic Party to change his rules, and then him not declaring that he's a Democrat. I mean, so, look, he wants it both ways. I want you to change your rules, but I ain't going to be one of you. Well, how in the hell are you going to change my rules? That's like having somebody say, change your rules in alpha. Punk, you ain't an alpha. Go sit your ass down. I mean, that's what you got going on here. And so one of the issues, though, that you also have, you got Bernie people, some of them who love Bernie but voted for Trump. You got Democrats who voted for Obama, voted for Trump. And so at the end of the day, what has to happen is ain't nobody voted once. Let the folks vote in 13 days in Iowa. Then, damn it, let's go to New Hampshire. And let's go to Nevada. Let's go to South Carolina. But what I'm not going to do is shut an election down when, hell, not a single vote has been cast. So damn all these polls.
Somebody needs to check Bernie, period. Now Biden is starting to get on his case a little bit, and he's had some success with that.
And that's what happens in elections. You actually...
That's what
happens. I'm just tired of people who go, well, no. You shouldn't be attacking each other. Yes, you should.
I agree with that, but why Clinton?
Jason, go.
And my question is, a lot of people were saying what happened with Kamala Harris was unfair. So is it your position, Roland, that was fair? Like the way she was attacked, the way that went down, the way her, people talked about her campaign. That was absolutely fair game.
That's your position. Let me be clear. There were people who attacked Senator Kamala Harris
who were lying about her record.
Yes.
There were people, there's no doubt, if you look at the data, you had Russian trolls who were also amplifying that message because they deemed her to be one of the biggest threats to win the Democratic nomination. But also, one of the fundamental problems that her campaign did not anticipate nor properly respond. The bottom line is this here. If you know that people are going to go after you because of your prosecutorial record, what you can't do is wait until September, the Monday before the debate at Texas Southern University, and release your criminal justice plan. Not when you got in the race in March. If you knew what was considered a weakness, what you do is you shore up your weaknesses early. You do not allow 6 months to go by and then let the whole thing fester and build up. You don't have 3 debates where you frankly couldn't answer the attack on your record as an attorney general. So 2 things can be correct. There were unfair attacks on Senator Kamala Harris, but also her people did not properly respond or anticipate what those attacks were. And so that's what happens in politics. All is fair in love and war.
Okay.
It ain't gonna, and so that's all it is.
Okay, yeah. If you're saying that it's all fair, because there are certainly attacks on Bernie Sanders that are fair. There have been attacks on Tulsi Gabbard that are fair. There have been attacks on them that are unfair. But if you're saying this is politics, this is the way it goes, then I can totally understand your position. And
that is my position, and that's been my position since day one. And let me tell you something, my Congressman Tulsi Gabbard, she can go kick rock, especially this bullshit lawsuit she's filed against Hillary Clinton when Hillary Clinton didn't even name her in a podcast. But as Reese said in her post, hit dog will holler. That's Tulsi Gabbard. Right. And she needs to sit her ass down and get out of the race, because all she's doing is wasting breath. Because, again, she's amplifying what Russia wants to do, and I don't care what she has to say about it. So deal with it, okay? You're not going to get the nomination. You're not going to get close to any votes. So guess what? Sit down. John Delaney, get out of the race. Michael Bennett, stop running. You got no place whatsoever in this race as well. So go sit down. It ain't going to happen. So that's why I'm like, yo, please hurry up. Iowa and New Hampshire and Nevada and South Carolina votes, so at least 60 people can go home and stop wasting our time, because you're absolutely right. Republicans are raising hundreds of millions of dollars because they want to protect Donald Trump being in the White House. That's what they're doing, because there are 3 people, 3 constituencies that are very happy. National security Republicans, they love the billions he keeps giving to the Defense Department, so they're going to vote for him regardless of whatever. Then you have Chamber of Commerce Republicans, love their tax cuts, love getting rid of regulation. They don't give a damn about the environment. They don't care about the air and water quality. They're going to vote for Trump because he's getting rid of regulation. They're making money. And thirdly, these crazy, nonsensical, white conservative evangelicals, all they can't stand is abortion and same-sex marriage. And so he's giving them to pick whatever judges they want, and so they will excuse any behavior that he has. And that's what's going on. But I'm trying to tell all you people out there who are sitting at home, and I'm going to say it again, and I know Cleo Monago doesn't like me to say it, but all you dumbasses who didn't vote in 2016, I'm calling you out because you're an idiot for sitting at home. I don't care who you think isn't perfect or who isn't lining up with all of your issues. You're going to have 2 choices. I don't care what none of y'all have to say. It's going to be a Democratic nominee, and it's going to be an evil-ass man named Trump. And we already seen what he can do in the first 4 years. He's already been impeached. He's already said he will take Russia foreign interference again. This is a man who is evil. This is a man who is going to appoint more judges. If Donald Trump wins another 4 years, he likely will be appointing half of all federal judges on the bench. That's crazy. That should scare the hell out of anybody who cares about civil rights or environmental protection, who cares about any of those things. And so that's what's going to happen. So y'all can sit here and go back and forth with the Bernie bros and broettes and the Tulsi people and the Hillary people and everybody else. But I'm telling you right now, when it's time for that Democratic convention, you better lock and load, because these folks, they want to run this country in a way that minimizes black people, Latinos, LGBT, Asians, Native Americans. If you ain't white, you ain't right. Just look at who they're targeting. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it. Earlier this week, this video surfaced of former NBA guard Delonte West being handcuffed after a fight broke out here in the Washington, D.C. area. We're not going to show that video. According to TMZ, a witness told police that West started the street fight by throwing a glass bottle at the other man. The Prince George's County, Maryland police found out that one of their officers recorded the viral video and conducted a full investigation. The video made its rounds on social media following the incident, and the department conducted a full investigation leading up to the officer's indefinite suspension. Reese, I'm not showing this video because, one, Delonte West has a serious mental illness problem. This has been the case for a number of years. Folks have been joking about him. They've been mocking him. When he was getting beat in the middle of the street, all these cars stopped. Nobody came to his assistance. And then, I mean, it was just shameful. And I mean, this is what happens when you deal with people who have problems with mental illness and they're not getting the help that they need.
Yeah, it was very disturbing, and even the woman recording the video was like, somebody call the police. Get off your phone and call the police.
Right.
You know, but I mean, I feel for him. I will say one thing when I watched the video and then I read the stories is I do think sometimes we have a tendency to really react very strongly to videos without necessarily having all the facts. I mean, it's a 38-second clip as far as him being interrogated by the police officer. And, you know, there was a little bit more to the story than his, you know, to me, understandable agitation at being handcuffed after just getting beat up. But it is encouraging that he's with his family and he seems to be getting some help. And there was some outpouring of support. And people were certainly much more sensitive to the fact that he has bipolar, as he's stated himself, rather than making a mockery of it and calling him crazy and putting him all these lists that they used to put him on to try to make it seem like he was just some sort of, you know, crazy person instead of being sensitive to his condition.
Rob, this is, again, I mean, I think that it's very easy to sit here and make fun of jokes and make fun of people and make jokes, but he has a serious problem. Folks have been asking for the NBA, or at least the Players Association, to help one of their former players.
Yeah. You know, a couple things on this. You know, social media has a lot of great things and it connects us, but it also has a dark side. It amplifies some of the worst of human nature, some of the worst pre-existing conditions we already have. So to talk about people, to judge people quickly, and obviously we saw that play out with this. But yes, absolutely, the NBA should be investing heavily in mental health, and it's one of their former players, and it's a situation that we as a Black community have to begin to take more seriously too, because we think we can just, you know, sometimes pray it away. No, you need to get real help, and it shouldn't be made fun of, and it should be talked about. There's nothing wrong with admitting that you need help, and we should seek the services and not shy away from those things.
Jason.
Yeah, I want to echo that. So, you know, I'm from Maryland, and so I know a lot of people who I don't know Delonte myself, but I know a lot of people who know him, and you know, I've talked to people who have actually been in contact with his family. You know, it's a difficult time for them. I will say that, you know, Delonte, despite his condition, is a strong dude, and I believe that he will, you know, with help and with the right people around him and the right professional help, that he's going to bounce back. I also just briefly want to say, from the video of the attack, anybody who's done any kind of training, any kind of fighting training, knows that if somebody stomps on your head, that's a kill shot. That person should be in prison, to me. Yep. That person needs to go to jail. I don't care what the circumstances were ahead of time, but when you stomp on someone's head, you are literally trying to kill them. And so I think that, you know, no one's really had a conversation about that person's culpability. And, you know, that was basically an attempted murder. You know, that wasn't just a fist fight. When you have someone who's incapacitated and you stomp on their head, that's really, really a problem. But Delonte, again, I want to echo what they said, you know, besides, you know, the love and prayers that we want to send him and his family. I really hope that, you know, the NBA and everybody who can get involved that can help Delonte in his condition can help him, and he can bounce back and be there for his family.
Michael, again, we could have easily shown the video. I chose not to. It's my call. Want to apologize for it because
There's no sense. The way folks have made fun of him, I mean, that is a serious, serious problem that he's dealing with. It's affecting a lot of people across this country. This country has slashed mental health services, cities, counties, and states, and that's one of the reasons why we have such a huge problem, especially when it comes to homelessness as well.
You're right, and Reese just mentioned, call the police. Instead, people are talking about World Star. How quickly can I post this online? And that's back to, I forget which panelist talked about the social media and how great it is and it connects us, but it also has these negative parts about social media. And that's just kind of what happens, and it's unfortunate. And again, I guess we're all sending our thoughts and prayers to his family.
You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.
Hey everybody, this is Sherry Shepherd. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered, and while he's doing Unfiltered, I'm practicing the wobble. Yes, I am. Because Roland Martin's the one, he will do it backwards, he will do it on the side. He messes everybody up when he gets into the wobble, because he doesn't know how to do it, so he does it backwards. And it messes me up every single time. So I'm working on it. I got it. You got Roland Martin.
Hi, my name is LaToya Luckett, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Mac Wiles, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
What's up, y'all? It's Ryan Destiny, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
What up, Lana Well, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Hey fam, want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? The blackest show on all of digital, cable, and broadcast. Check out our audio podcast. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. Press play.